made like YouTube is.
Maybe.
Now that it's Portland.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. I just realized I didn't get the camera quite square. Oh well. It's always exciting trying to start a live show.
Wait, we're live?
There we go. Now we're live.
All right.
What's up, everyone? Woo! How's it going? Episode 61 of Talking Heads.
All right.
I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Welcome to the show. What up, y'all? How's the week? How's it going? John, how are you?
Oh, it's been a long week. I haven't been here in a while.
Yeah, I know you haven't.
I've been sick. I've been busy.
There were holidays.
Yeah. I went and saw Metallica.
Yeah, usually I see Rhett about as often as you've been here lately.
Yeah, I know. It's been bad. And then Rhett's been on vacation.
Yeah.
So it's been a ride. And then this whole past week was just insane at work. So
yep. It's been insane at my work as well. I can't get into too many specifics about it, but we had we're doing a switching rollover for our data center and for some of our top of rack switches. And the switch vendor pulled essentially a bait and switch with us on optics. Oh. And so we spent a large chunk of change on switches, and we're told that our existing optics were going to work. For them at the last minute to say, oh, no, sorry, you need the latest version of the optics, and we don't. This new switch doesn't support that, and so you have to buy all new optics. Well, how much are the optics? Oh, for the number of optics that you need, it's going to cost more than the switches just cost you. And this is a multi-$100,000 upgrade. Oh my god! And they literally just doubled the bill on us. And like I said, I can't reveal a vendor. There's some specifics to it that I can't say. But long and short of it is, I bent them over a barrel and I won.
Nice.
I could not be more pleased with the outcome of that situation.
Nice.
So, yeah, I have essentially an ironclad contract, a set structured pricing for the prices that I expect from now on that they are to adhere to until their policies change on supporting multiple optics and things like that. So, yeah. Oh, it was a good week. Stressful week, but it was a mic drop. Yeah, so that was fun. Let's see, what else? Getting plans for CES all together.
Yeah, you were talking a bit about that on Discord.
Yeah, getting meetings all set up at CES.
Super jealous about that.
Yeah, getting all the travel plans finalized. We booked a hotel like 2 months ago, staying on the far south end of the Strip, so that should be a lot of fun. If you've been to Vegas, we're not quite to South Point. We're right between South Point Casino and the Welcome to Las Vegas sign.
Oh, okay.
We're halfway between that. So it should be a nice location. I'm looking forward to it. In fact, we'll be there in 4 weeks. It starts... Yeah.
Oh, Rhett spends a month in Europe.
And then he gets to come home, spend 3 weeks home, and then spend a week in Vegas.
Hey, let's go to Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not?
Exactly.
Without my wife.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they're letting us go solo.
Yeah.
So.
Not until they see the videos. Jeff's wife's going to join your Patreon just for that trip. Like, what's he doing?
Yeah, you know what's awesome is I'm in charge of the video evidence. All that gets home is what I release. So there's that. What are y'all drinking in comments tonight? Let me know. Let's see. Joe, $2 donation. Thank you so much, Joe. And new donation from the D. Welcome, the D.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining the club. Anyway, let me know what you're drinking down in chat land. But we're going to start with something a little bit different tonight. I'm going to go ahead and make the cocktail first.
All right.
We then have a box to open. Since we have a distinct lack of beer news.
Yes, we do have... it was dry pickings this week.
Yes. Yeah, there was nothing.
There was nothing.
So, a couple of weeks ago, all of us were sick, and I went ahead and did a solo show. And during that show, I decided to share with you a couple of my favorite cold remedy cocktails. So yes. I made my version of a hot toddy, and then I made basically what amounts to a cider and vodka. Mm-hmm. And they're delicious. You can just sit there and sip on them. They're soothing. They're
that cold winter. I want to cozy up.
I want to fleece blanket and sit by a fire, and I want to be hammered by the end.
Yes, exactly.
It was those kind of drink. Anyway, unbeknownst to me, 4 days before that, One of my favorite whiskey channels, or whiskey channel, yeah, actually.
It's a channel.
One of my favorite YouTube channels, The Whiskey Tribe, did a hot toddy showdown where they did 6 different recipes of a hot toddy and then a 6th extra recipe that was like a whiskey tea kind of thing. And they said they were all fantastic, but there was one that really caught my eye out of the list. And it was the one that won their showdown as well. So, courtesy of the Whiskey Tribe and one of their members named Barton, this is Barton's Apple Pie. And it is not a hot toddy, but it is a hot apple cider drink with whiskey.
Hot apple pie. Oh, I mean, it sounds delicious.
From what I hear, this is going to taste like liquid apple pie.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
I have not tried this for the record. So
I've had some apple pie mead, which tasted like liquid apple pie filling. So I'm hoping it's gonna taste like a warm, thinner version of that.
Yes. So no, it's a
hearty,
possibly boozier, and it's a hearty drink, and you'll understand why here.
Oh, so then we should get bigger cups.
Yeah, probably. Off the rim.
He made it. Don't worry about it. He made it.
Yeah. All right. So we've done some whiskey tasting here on the show before. This is Elijah Craig's small batch, and the reason we're using this is it does have some hints of like a green apple flavor to it.
Very nice.
And that's actually, it comes out and expressed very well. So we're going to make it exactly like they did on the Whiskey Tribe. So John, if you want to pour that in your cup.
All right.
We're just using powdered apple cider, the Alpine apple cider that you can get at Costco for...
the standard stuff.
Yeah, $6 for literally a lifetime supply. So
I remember as a kid, I used to just like eat that plain, just stick my finger in it, and be like, oh, this tastes good.
So we're gonna start with that. We're gonna do, this is pretty close to boiling water.
Oh yeah, good steam coming off of it.
Yeah. So we're gonna.
If you can't see it, there's steam coming out of it.
So we're gonna dissolve that first. There we go. Perfect. All right. Next.
Butter?
Butter. Not even kidding.
Butter.
Butter.
Not unsalted butter?
Not unsalted butter. Just
salted butter.
Just butter.
Butter.
Just
That's supposed to get like a creamy...
a dollop of butter.
I wonder if this is more like acts as like the crust.
Yeah. I'm betting that's it. So literally just...
Oh, okay. I thought it was like it's going to be a tablespoon.
No. Just a dollop of butter.
Oh, it's a dollop of...
Yeah.
I put more butter on my toast.
Well, I'll get you a little heavier.
I don't know. That's fine.
No, you're sitting there bitching. I'm going to give you just a little bit more. There we go. All right. So we'll go ahead and stir that up.
So I've had like coffee and butter.
Yeah, I've done buttered coffee before too.
Yeah.
And what's funny is during that episode, they mentioned, have you tried this new buttered coffee thing? And they're like, yeah, I didn't like it.
It's all right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yours melts nice and quick. Yeah. So the butter will settle on the top, and it's supposed to give kind of a crust-like flavor to it.
Yeah. Kind of a bit of creamy,
Right.
baked flavor.
Exactly.
Because I would almost thought there would have been like brown sugar or something.
Nope, there's actually no sugar in this except for what's in the
I'm sure there's sugar.
powder mix.
Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of sugar in that.
We're going to do an ounce and a... Actually, we'll do the cinnamon stick first. Get that dissolving.
So then there's 1 cinnamon stick per glass?
Yep, just drop a cinnamon stick in. And of course, they're sealed for your protection.
What? The freshness.
Yeah. Of my Walmart cinnamon sticks.
Yes. They've been, sitting around for the past 10 years.
Oh, I can smell it, so that's a good sign, I guess. There we go. And there we go. And my spoon. And another little... Get that cinnamon to dissolve a little bit. There we go.
See, we need like an overhead camera.
We do. Actually, I have a B cam on the way.
Nice.
I
just sitting there switch.
I'm gonna do a video here pretty soon about my home studio setup. What do I actually have equipment wise that I use to produce videos? So my main camera is a Sony A6000, and I've got a Viltrox speed booster for EF lenses, and I've my primary lens is a Canon 24-105L lens. I just bought a second camera, which is going to be a Sony A61 or A5100. So I'm still shooting in 1080-60, XAVC at 50 megabits. So pretty good frame rate for 1080-60. But the nice thing about those two cameras is they have the exact same sensor, exact same processing. But the A5100 is going to make a really nice vlogging cam because it has a screen that pops up. But when I'm editing, I can use the same color profiles. I can use the same everything. I can use all my same lenses. So
all the same presets, everything.
Exactly. So yeah, the cameras themselves should match. And then right on top, we're gonna do just an
ounce and a half.
Ounce and a half. Here we go. All right, give that one final little swoosh. Make sure the whiskey's in there. All right, that should be it.
That's it.
4 ingredients.
It smells like apple and butter. It does. Yeah, it smells pretty good.
All right. Cheers, everyone.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I think it needs a little more sugar. Something to sweet it, but it's good.
I was actually going to go the other way. I could use a little bit more whiskey or a little bit more bitterness.
I think maybe more whiskey. I think there was just probably too much water.
Probably a little too much water.
I think it's too much water. But other than that, like, it's, when you were saying it's going to be like apple pie filling, I was expecting it very sweet. But this is a little watery, but all the flavors in there are very delicious.
Very good. Oh, that's good. Ooh.
Yeah. No, the Elijah Craig... actually super smooth with that apple.
Yeah.
It's actually really hard to taste.
Yeah, I don't taste any whiskey.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I mean, it kind of almost makes that powdered stuff taste like an off-brand of it, but there's actually alcohol.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd say it's just more of a green apple flavor, whereas this is genuinely like a real good cider flavor.
Yeah.
This is more of a green apple, a little bit tartar.
Yes.
Like I said, probably a little bit too much water. I would probably make a little bit smaller measure of this.
Probably maybe about 6 ounces.
These are really tall mugs. They're deceptively tall. But yeah,
that's good.
Good stuff.
No, the butter barely tastes it. It gives this creaminess to it, this smooth texture.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into some beer news, and then we'll go ahead and do our unboxing.
All right, we got some beer news. I got no segue into this unless you got something.
I got, no, because this is more of a dessert drink. I was going to try to do something with like a breakfast tie-in.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to do too.
These aren't mimosas. I
was trying to go something with Kellogg's.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we've talked a lot about breakfast stuff and food and companies making their
whiskey
own...
breakfast of champions.
That is, right?
There you go.
We've had Dunkin' Donuts make their own beer. We've had, I think there's been a Count Chocula beer. So Kellogg's is making their own beer now with Corn Flakes.
Yep. So basically, most food processing facilities, you end up with waste, some slacks, some
leftovers,
from
stale,
batches. Exactly.
They don't meet quality standards.
Right. They scrape the bottom of the barrel and they either throw it out or they turn it into dog food or they do other things like that.
They're trying to do something with it. Sometimes it just gets dumped and gets thrown away. Homeless don't get it. No one gets it. It's in the trash.
Right. Well, Kellogg's had the idea of why are we throwing out what is good starch?
Yeah, there's good sugars in here. It just doesn't meet our requirement for the cereal.
Right. So why don't we mash it up?
Yeah, and so they got a hold of, what was the brewery's name? Kellogg, I don't remember. Anyways, they got a hold of a brewery. Oh yeah, that's right. It was Seven Brothers Brewery.
Oh, okay.
And I was gonna make a joke about, man, they should join up with Seven
Brides here in Silverton.
Seven Brides and Seven Brothers. But yeah, Seven Brothers Brewery in Manchester are taking this cereal and making an IPA out of it. Mm-hmm. And so...
Wasn't that a movie, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of what I...
Gotcha.
And so they're calling it...
Sorry, it took me a minute.
Throwaway IPA. To where it's going to be 30% of this Kellogg cereal. The sugars from that beer will come from the Kellogg cereal.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be a 70% wheat. So it's going to be a pretty weedy IPA. It'll be an interesting IPA. They didn't talk about specifics of what percentage they're trying to hit, what they're going to do with it. But I'm betting that even if it's halfway decent, they're probably going to have an endless supply of this cereal.
Oh yeah,
which could easily cut costs down on making this beer.
I need to get a lighter monitor, man. That is not kind to my adjustable
no,
stand.
It like bends.
The whole monitor is doing this right now. Sorry, I was just trying to get my eyes are just tired tonight. Reading too many contracts.
But there's no talk about when it's coming out. It was just an interesting article. Again, like we said, it's a very slow news week.
Yes,
and it's so slow that this was actually part of last week's show.
Yeah, this was a throwaway from last week.
Yeah.
So we had 3 beer items on there, and we usually try to cap it there because we don't like beer news to go over 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That way the tech people don't leave and the beer people get their fill.
Yep.
But like I said, there was a bunch of news last week, and this was one of the throwaway items that just came in late, and it's like, we don't care about that. No. But this week it's all there is.
Yeah. I mean, there was some really bad ones out there. It was... what determines your beer determines your attitude. It's like, oh man, that's just bad. The only other kind of cool news was Chicago became the beer capital of the United States right now.
Yeah.
It bounced over
bastards.
Yeah, Portland,
Seattle, San Diego. It's usually, and I think possibly New York. Yeah. It battles between the 4 of us, and then all of a sudden Chicago just sneaked in there and was like, "Hey, we beat you guys last week." Yep.
And right now they have the most breweries per capita in the United States.
Yep.
So good job, Chicago. If you live in Chicago, check out some beers. There's probably some new ones popping open all the time.
Yep. Yeah, Bend actually, surprisingly enough, is top 10 as far as cities, as far as beer per capita.
Oh, yeah.
What are there? 19 or...
If not more.
Yeah.
Unfortunately...
No, sorry. It was 17 breweries just in the greater Bend area that were brewing Resilience IPA. That's what I'm counting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because John and I've been trying to do a little bit of work on if the road trip is even feasible. And I'm like, how many breweries can we hit by going different places? And there's a couple breweries that I do want to hit. There's a couple of them that were just way out of the way, and it's like, okay, that's 3 hours drive for 2 breweries.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what if we drove through Bend? And I was like, well, who's brewing it in Bend?
Everyone.
Everyone. Literally every brewery is brewing
I know.
in
It'd be
Bend.
let's just stay in Bend.
Yeah, let's just go Bend, take 97 north, and go to Portland.
Yeah. God.
and we'll hit 40 breweries.
Yeah. We'd be hammered before we even left Bend.
Yeah.
So we're going to try doing something very special with that.
Yeah. I really do want to bring attention to it. And they're going to be selling it for a while.
Yeah,
so
they'll be selling it for a while. So we're going to do something possibly with you and even my channel.
Yeah. So, we've got a couple ideas in the works.
So hopefully after Christmas, though, because our schedules are just packed.
Yes. So John, you want to sneak that box around here? Don't pop it up on the table. I want to leave it down here because I didn't bother taking a return label off.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was going to rip it off, but I was like, well, I don't know what he wants.
So let me just make sure there's no...
So this is a big, probably 22 by...
So I received this box.
It's a big box.
From a loyal viewer, patron extraordinaire, Skull. And John, you've done some beer trades with Skull.
Yes, we have.
So Skull is a fan of the channel and a
longtime fan.
Longtime fan. He's been on the Patreon for quite a while. He decided to. Oh, this is actually the second package that he sent me. But as happens with most packages that are sent to me from my patrons, he sent a bottle of some kind of local rye to him, and it was in Salem for 3 days, and then we both got notifications that the package was destroyed in shipping and discarded. So yeah, that was lame. And from what I hear, that was a really good bottle of rye. And so he was bummed. I was bummed. But he's since made up for it and sent me this giant box. And I opened the box to make sure the styrofoam was intact and the bottles were intact. I've not actually opened this.
Oh, okay.
So I am completely surprised.
When you were downstairs, I was like, oh, I'm going to go open this.
No. I have no idea what's in here.
All right. Well, let's do this quickly. Or not quickly, but very well packaged.
Yes. Yeah, he sent me a picture, so I have a picture of the caps.
Yeah,
and that's all I have.
I knew he was talking to me a couple of them, so I know 2 or 3 of them that are in here.
So let's start with this side because I know these caps right now. So and I can feel the label. Yeah, I can feel the label.
All right.
All right, bottle number 1 has a Goose Island cap on it, and I already recognize it from the little tab on top, and that is a Bourbon County Stout.
Which one though?
This is the red. This is the
barley wine,
stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee added.
Oh, so that's last year's.
Yeah, this is 2017.
I don't think that's a stout. I think that's a barley wine.
Stout.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee. So, yeah.
That's a
Goose Island Bourbon County stout.
I know how much that beer costs.
Yeah, and so do I, because I buy one every couple of years.
Yeah.
But they're a little bit outside of my I like to enjoy price range usually. Bottle number 2, I see another one of those tags. This one's a purple or a blue tag.
Ooh.
This is another 2017, so another one from last year. This is the stout aged in bourbon barrels with blueberry juice and almond extract.
Interesting. I think I've had that one.
Yeah. So here's bottle number 2.
Oh look!
Oh look! Another Goose Island. Oh look! I can feel another tag. They're very distinct bottles. Once you know what they look like, they're
cool bottles.
Yeah.
I think it's a
2016.
16. Nice. Very well aged.
Stout aged in bourbon barrels.
So that's just the standard one.
Yeah, the standard stout.
But it's 2 years old.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, nice. Can't wait to get to those.
So yeah. By the way, those are the 2016 anyways.
Yeah.
Is active yeast.
Yes.
So you'll want to be careful with that one.
Yeah. Let that one settle a little bit. So it wasn't quite without damage in the box. And
it doesn't look like any.
Well, there was this whole side's cracked.
Oh yeah! Look at that.
So it took a good hit on one of the sides.
But he packaged it well.
Yeah, he did. All right, mystery bottle number 1, Confluence Brewing Company, Copperidge. It's a 5th anniversary porter from 2017, aged in bourbon barrels, cold brewed dark roasted Central Costa Rican coffee. Aged 10 months in bourbon barrels. So it went into a barrel on 9/22/2017 and came out on July 24th, 2018.
That's cool. I like that they tell you that.
8.4% ABV.
So it's not super big,
bourbon barrel aged porter with coffee. So it's not actually a stout. So yeah,
very nice.
That one looks very good. I will take a picture of all these when I'm done and post it on Twitter. So if you guys want to get a little bit closer look at the bottles. All right, number 5.
Here, I'll have that so that way we can get through.
Yep, Toppling Goliath Thresher Wheat Pale Ale.
So we have 2 of those actually.
Nice.
Toppling Goliath is actually a very
good. I've had a couple of theirs before.
Yeah. Skull and he's actually traded me some of those.
Yeah.
For some good stuff over here.
Yep. Yeah, I've had a couple of these before. They're hard to get in Oregon.
They are very hard to get in Oregon. All right.
I haven't had that particular one though, so I'm excited.
Electric Rattlesnake. Actually, Pipeworks.
Oh, okay, nice.
Pipeworks. I actually got screwed on a trade from a supposed employee from Pipeworks. But I hear Pipeworks is an amazing brewery.
Yeah, Pipeworks Brewing, Chicago, Illinois. Black barrel aged electric rattlesnake, 9%.
Ooh, nice.
So.
Next, what we got?
Peanut butter chocolate milk stout from Four Hands Brewing.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yes.
I love a peanut butter milk stout. Or peanut butter stouts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it looks like we got
2 of those.
2 of the Copperidge.
Nice.
This one are those fancy wax dips. Surly the Darkness.
Surly Brewing.
Russian Imperial Stout.
Nice.
That just feels hefty.
Yeah. Nice.
I mean, even without the wax tip, the bottle feels
that's a
thick
bottle.
It feels like one of those Rogue bottles.
Yes, it does. Yeah, very cool.
Next, Two Brothers Artisan Brewing, Les Bon Temps, 4-year aged Brett Double IPA. So kind of a dry, sour IPA.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Speaking right to my heart, Pipeworks Sweetheart Waffle.
Oh, I want to try that one.
Stout brewed with spices. 9% again. That just looks... Yes. Stack of waffles on the side.
I just look... Like, I'm hoping that's, like, thick.
Yeah. So, there's a restaurant in the Venetian that makes my absolute favorite chicken and waffles ever.
Mine weren't good enough for you?
Probably not. Probably not. And I fully intend on going there, having a drink, having chicken and waffles, tweeting it, enjoying the whole experience, probably more than once when I'm in Vegas. It's like a $17 chicken and waffles.
Jeez.
Yeah. Oh, but it is so worth it.
Yeah.
So they give you like 4 Belgian waffles, and then it's literally just like hunks of fried chicken like this, and they're stacked about that high with a knife going straight through the center. And then this like butter pecan maple syrup over the... Oh, yeah.
I love chicken and waffles, but man, I can't take more. Like one waffle and like two pieces of chicken. That's all I need.
But see, when you're in Vegas and you're working like 19 hours a day,
yeah,
you can put away the calories, my friend. All right, Skull, you the man.
You the man. We're gonna be sending you some awesome stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Some of our local favorites. Very cool. Thank you, guys. All right. Moving on. What do we got next?
So we got you a betting man?
Sometimes.
I mean, you're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
You ever place a bet on anything while you're there?
I try not to because I get really competitive. And I get competitive with like myself, where I have to win. I don't care what it is or what the contest is, but if I'm in the contest, I have to win the contest.
Like 1, 2, 3, 1 on everything, and like yes, come on, roulette.
Yeah, the one time I've actually done well was actually at a roulette table.
Oh, really?
Where I absolutely hit.
All on black.
No, it was like 31 black, and I nailed a $5 bet on it.
Oh, nice.
And so 32-1.
There you go.
Or 32-1 payout. So yeah, that was quite nice. And then what was really funny is we said quick tangent, and then we'll get straight into the news.
He's ruining my segue.
So I sat down at a roulette table, just threw like $20 down, and put $5 on a number, and then spread some other bets out, and I hit the number first spin. I'm up $170.
Yeah. Like, let's keep going.
Let her go. And when my friend saw that, sat down, put in $20, put them all on the table. She hit a number.
Oh, nice.
And so we're both up like $180, $200 like right off the bat. And so we're playing, and everyone at the table's winning. It's going small little local town casino. Nothing big time. But so we're all sitting down. Well, another friend of mine sits down. And he's like, oh, I'll try this. Everyone's winning. Why not? He puts down $20, 0-0, whole table loses.
Oh.
He cooled the whole table off. No one won another hand except for like, hey, you won black. Here's $2.
Yeah.
That was it the rest of the day. So I eventually cashed out with like $120, but I sat down with 20. So
yeah, right.
That's the only time I've ever done well at a casino. Anyway, am I a betting man? I knew where you were going.
Yeah.
Sometimes I bet, sometimes I don't. If I were a betting man, if I were to say, is AMD going to release new CPUs at CES? Which is the current rumor right now. We went from like, oh, here's maybe some rumored specs from Android TV.
Yeah.
Here's, they bumped the release up. They're really going to like push it and put the screws to Intel, and we were originally thinking like late March. Now we're thinking like January 15th, we'll have CPUs in our hands. No, it's not. So I'll show the slide. So South Korean Ryzen 3600X and 3700X contest pulled after AMD is notified of its existence.
Apparently, the South Koreans have an interesting gambling habit.
Right. So anyway, what this was a contest to pool together, find out what the release date is, and then win the CPUs. And So there was a company that was offering that and saying the prize was 3600X or 3700X. If you got, I think it was actually the Cinebench score. Yeah.
It wasn't the release date, but it was the Cinebench score. But they didn't tell you when you would receive your prize. They didn't tell you when it was the release day. And somehow, and then AMD got a hold of someone doing this and basically put a cease and desist order on South Korea.
Right.
And then they said, all these rumors of everything that's going around, they are all false.
Yeah.
Don't believe them.
Right. So, now the numbers that were posted, go to the next one, and there's one slide in particular, down, a little further, that one. Yeah. So here are the numbers that was kind of leaked by Android TV. By the way, great YouTube channel. I'm not dissing him at all for releasing or talking about the numbers. We're going to talk about them here. These numbers are on the edge of being believable. And when I say that, I mean getting rid of quad-core chips in favor of 6-core, at least right off the bat. Maybe they'll come out with a Ryzen 3 or maybe call it a Duron or something like that.
Yeah.
Quad-core later on. Maybe previous gen chips. Stick with 12 nanometer plus on some older chips to get that $50 price point. They've done that before. But bumping all of your Ryzen 3 SKUs up to 6-core, kind of believable. Integrating a Navi-based 15 compute unit GPU onto a Ryzen 3 3300G sounds believable, especially at the clock speeds that they're saying. Staying within that 65 watt TDP. 129?
Not so
maybe.
much.
Maybe.
I'm betting that's going to go up.
But look at the current look at the current pricing for the 2400G, which is what that CPU should be comparable to.
Yeah.
That CPU is $170. So unless they are getting amazing yields, that's a low price.
Yeah.
That just seems low.
That means everyone's going to be buying the 3300X.
Right. Moving up to Ryzen. Oh, and the other thing, having all of your SKUs with SMT enabled. That doesn't sound 100% likely to me, because typically your low-end SKUs are going to be cut down cores or cut down on features because they are lower quality dies. They're lower quality bins. So having a 6-core 12-thread as your base $100 unit, dubious at best.
Well, yeah, that's...
And having a 3300X sitting there at 129, and then you're going to replace it 3 months later with a G processor that has a 500 hit to the core clocks, but adds a graphics card that should be around 1060 level capable
at the same price.
At the same price point, no, that doesn't sound realistic to me.
It sounds like half of this information is true, and then that the pricing point is what everyone's really complaining about.
I have some other points on the pricing that I'll bring up here in a second. Moving on to the Ryzen 5, 8-core 16-thread. Yeah, I could totally see that. As could I the 12-core 24 at the Ryzen 7 and the 16-core 32 at the Ryzen 9.
Yeah.
Those are all believable based on what we know about Navi, about Zen 2, about the chiplets, about architecture, about everything else. They sound believable. What doesn't sound believable here is the wattage that they're giving for the chips, because AMD themselves have said there will be about a 25% increase in efficiency and performance. Or something like a 15% more.
I thought it was 15.
15% more efficient and 25% faster. Yeah. And so, again, these should be clock for clock about the performance that you're getting out of Intel chips. They should scale higher if we're going to get... hopefully we'll get higher boost clocks, higher overclocks, that kind of thing. But these TDPs don't really make sense. Like the 3600X at 4.8 gigahertz, sticking with the 95 watt TDP of the current Ryzen 5, the current Ryzen 7, 8-core 16-thread, 2700X at 95 watts. And that CPU draws 95 watts at 4.3 gigahertz. So you're saying we're going to get the same cores 500 megahertz faster at the same 95 watt TDP. Oh, and you're going to undercut that CPU by a significant margin as well. Undercut it by $70.
Yeah.
No. Again, unless your yields are insane, and I mean insane. Skipping down the line we'll just skip down to the 16-core 32 thread. Yeah. 16-core 32 thread, 5.1 gigahertz turbo at 135 watts. That's not a realistic number. That's not realistic by any measure. If it hits 5.1 gigahertz, I don't know. But that's kind of inconsequential because you're not going to get that chip at 135 watts. That'll be 170, 180, 190 watt TDP
it's gonna be closer to
at 16-core 32 thread. My 8-core Ryzen 1900X overclocked to 4.1 draws 200 watts from the wall by itself. Yeah. It's 190 watts at that point to give you some basis of comparison for 16-core 32 thread. You're not going to get that at 5.1 gigahertz at 135 watts. Secondly, as far as the... I'm trying not to rant because I think some of this is real. I think some of this could be legit.
Well, I said it
ballpark
like
numbers.
50% seem to be correct.
Right.
There's price and, I guess,
right.
wattage.
Right.
But go ahead.
And whether or not these are soft announced at CES, we have a new series of Ryzen 9 CPUs coming out that's going to have 16-core, 32-thread. They're going to be the 3800X and 3850X, and they'll be released sometime in May. Mm-hmm. That's a believable announcement. They're not going to have specific core clocks, and they're not going to have pricing. The reason we know that is the way AMD has operated for the last couple of years is they have press days or tech days or demo days where they will, months in advance, invite media from around the country to fly to San Francisco or wherever they're doing their announcement at, and they will hold a press announcement where they give all of their information, they give all the NDA dates, they give all the model numbers, all of their projected pricing, and that's announced about 2 months before the release of a CPU. About a week to 2 weeks before the release of the CPU, you'll get the CPU in hands as a reviewer, and then you can publish your numbers. I got the 2200G and 2400G pre-release, not direct from AMD, but from a third party who was OEMing systems for using those chips. They got a pre-release version of it, or not pre-release, but an early retail version of it. I had that CPU 5 days early.
Oh, okay.
That was it. I had 5 days to benchmark a brand new platform. It was the first release of Zen Plus, so this was a new, slightly different architecture, different die size. It was a little bit different. Don't do that. I don't dab. I don't dab. Good Lord. Am I going to CES, Jeff? Hell yes, I'm going to CES. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Hey, you just missed him rant earlier on about him going to Rick going to
about
CES.
Chicken and waffles. Vegas has the best chicken and waffles, and I will be eating chicken and waffles twice at least in Vegas next month. Yes. Do a dab, guys. No. No.
How much are you donating? Yeah, that's right. They want the dab to be the thumbnail.
No.
Of this week's episode.
Tell you what, you dab, I'll flip you off.
If you make that the thumbnail, I will do it.
No.
You can blur your hand in the thumbnail.
Yeah. So, dabs are legal in Oregon. Yeah. All right. So, AMD has not announced any such press day, and we're 4 weeks from Vegas. Yeah. We're 4 weeks from today is AMD's press conference at Vegas, when Lisa Su is going to take the stage. Like I said, I'm not saying there's not going to be a soft announcement of Zen 2 is coming, of maybe some very early model numbers, very early specs, of, hey, we have 8-core, 12-core, and 16-core chips coming sometime early quarter 2. That makes sense. What AMD has not done is invited press to CES for the release of a new product.
They're not going to pull an Intel bombshell and be like, "What?
Yeah,
it didn't work."
Bring out the water chiller.
Water chip cooler.
We have 28 cores.
We glued 2 of our Zen 1s together.
We forgot to disclose that it may have been overclocked.
But no matter what, it beat Intel.
Yeah. So yeah. There is not going to be a product release at CES. There may be an announcement as far as a soft or a paper announcement.
There's just going to be a big hype guy. Woo!
Right. And that is for both desktop CPUs, mobile CPUs, and graphics cards. There might be a soft announcement for Navi-based graphics cards. They've already announced them for deep learning. There might be... Hey, Navi is coming Q2. Mm-hmm. And here's...
That's right in my birthday. So
right.
It's perfect.
Right. So there might be some press briefings on that. AMD is going to be present. They are doing booth tours. They are doing some other things like that. But
and for all you know, they might have here's some pamphlets, something coming out. Maybe they show you a video.
Right. The other thing is pricing is not usually set until about 2 weeks before release.
And usually what is rumored, it ends up being too low. They end up cranking up 10, 15%.
Well, usually the early prices are in units of 1,000. So if you're an OEM or a system integrator or a reseller or something like that, and you're buying 100 3850Xs, you'll get X price. Well, X price might be $429. That doesn't mean the retail is going to be $429. That means the retail is going to be $550.
Yeah.
It's just that's what the retail cost of that, or of the wholesale cost of that CPU is going to be. So the fact that they have pricing on this list throws the whole thing into doubt in my mind. The fact that they have exact base and boost clocks throws it completely into doubt in my mind. I'm not surprised that they have model numbers. I'm not surprised that they have core clocks or core counts.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not unreasonable that AMD says, oh, this is going to be our entry, mid, high, and extreme tier CPUs, and we're aiming for these price points. But this is an entire exact price point list, and that doesn't happen. These are retail price points. $299.99, $329.99. Those are retail price points.
Yeah.
If these were,
if
this was wholesale, it'd be $324.
I
would be seeing oddball price points that don't make a lot of retail sense.
I would love us to be wrong, though.
I'd love us to be wrong. We're not going to be wrong.
We're not going to be wrong, but I'd love it to be wrong. Like, guess what everyone's getting for Christmas next year? Ryzens!
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
For under $500, you get a whole Ryzen build.
Quite seriously, if the 3800X ends up being true at 16 core, 4.7 gigahertz at $450, yeah, that's my next workstation. Bar none. I don't care. Don't care. I will build one. I will build one. I will custom water cool it. I will build a Navi GPU loop. I will whore myself out to AMD. Straight up.
AMD, pay attention. He'll do it.
AMD, I'll dab.
Yeah, you want Jeff to dab? Buy a Ryzen 9.
You ship me a Ryzen 9, I'll dab for you. Oh, that cinnamon breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, it's got nice creaminess to it.
Almost like kind of a horchata taste to it now. Very creamy.
Creamy. I think it's actually better a little cooler, but I miss the comfort of the warm drink.
Yeah, it's cooled down quite a bit now. It's still good.
It's still very
good. Yeah.
I do think a little more booze, you know.
But if I add more booze now, it's going to cool it down even more.
Oh yeah.
So.
No, it's just like above room temperature right now for me.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about this and cast doubt on this story sometime late last month of SuperMicro, of the...
Not Super Mario.
Not Super Mario. SuperMicro. The infamous Chinese hardware hack where they infiltrated the supply network and the design network for SuperMicro and implanted a processor the size of a grain of rice that had its own onboard storage and networking capabilities and low level
transmitting,
low level network or low level system access, and it could turn the system on.
This is James Bond spy stuff, Cold War stuff.
The story that when I read it, I wanted to be true, and that's the seed of a really good myth or a really good story or a really good conspiracy theory. Is you have to want it to be true. And this was so outlandish yet so specific on the initial story.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be true. Not because it didn't concern me. Because that's scary crap. but that I wanted to believe this was technically feasible. The day that the story was announced, SuperMicro stock fell hard.
Yep.
It fell from $21 down to like $10.60. I think it even broke $9 at one point.
Yeah, it's still really low.
It plummeted like 60%, or something insane like that. I think I had one of the slides that had the stock chart.
It's right here.
The current,
almost.
Yeah.
Almost
so
10.
This is what their stock did upon the announcement. And you can see they were fairly stable for the entire month of...
Above 20.
Yeah.
Whoa-bam!
Yeah. Exactly. And it still hasn't recovered. It's still at 1640 or something like that. So, Joe, $5. Thank you, Joe.
Make him dab.
No. But anyway, Bloomberg posted this story, and it was front page of the magazine, and they had this awesome infographic about how small this thing was, and they broke down a SuperMicro board. SuperMicro immediately came out and said, we literally have no contact with the FBI about any potential espionage, and we're really confused as to why this is a story.
No one even told us about this.
No one interviewed us. No one's talked to us. And the allegations were that this server board that had been infiltrated is in use by the Department of Defense, by the CIA, by the NSA. It's used overseas in drone programs. It's used for decoding drone footage or encoding and whatnot drone footage. It is used by Apple. It's used by Amazon. It's used by Google. It's used by a lot of major players. And the day the story went live, 40,000 SuperMicro servers were pulled from deployment, were pulled from production because of data concerns. Now, the more you think about this from an analytical standpoint, the data has to get out of the server somehow. I work with data centers. I work with large networks. The idea that something would be getting out of my data center that I didn't know about, that I didn't have, number one, antivirus protection, that I didn't have malicious activity detection, that I didn't have IP-based firewalling, that I didn't have known services running and analyzed. And
how is this taking up power? Where is this going from?
Well, the power draw I don't think would be the concern. Neither would the processing power, because this was supposed to run standalone, and so it'd take half of a watt to do all this. But supposedly it was using the onboard network to transmit. Well, the thing is, the activity would either be coming from the physical network card, which really wouldn't be possible because you need an IP on the network to communicate out. So unless it was infiltrated, which I would see, it would need its own IP address, which there's no possible way in my network it would get its own IP address because it's an unregistered MAC in my network. It had to go through DHCP. It has to have 801X encryption on it. It's got to have this. It's got to have that. There's no possible way it could actually function on a network. Number two, I would see the traffic in firewall reports and block reports because we do analyze those things. So the idea that this could exist was immediately cast into doubt because...
But you wanted to believe it.
You want to believe it.
You want to believe there's that spyware out there.
But a couple days later, Apple and Amazon both came out and made very strong statements, very strong and direct statements of, we literally have no knowledge of any malicious hardware ever being infiltrated into our data center. So when somebody comes out and says, we have no knowledge of this situation and this is news for us and we're taking active steps to investigate, that's normal PR speak. When they come out and they go line by line and they state how wrong you are in your statement, those are official statements made by a company, and you have to be accountable to your stockholders. If you lie under that, it's prison time for whoever made that statement.
That was that's the head of their IT department, which is them making that statement. It wasn't their lawyer making the statement.
Right. You can tell lawyerese speak, and this was probably filtered through a lawyer still, but when a company comes out and makes direct counter arguments to... We've been in contact with SuperMicro. We have no interaction with law enforcement over this particular issue. We have never, ever detected malicious hardware within our network when it comes to SuperMicro servers. When you're getting that minute in your defense, that means you're correct. That means you're not lying.
You're like, I dare you. Come at me, bro.
Right. Because at that point, you're accountable to your stockholders. And if it comes out that you were lying... That's manipulation of stock. That's insider.
Your company's going to go bankrupt then.
Not bankrupt, but there are serious consequences.
You're going to
jail time consequences
jail time,
for the people involved.
Plummet,
right.
You're going to lose tons of contracts.
Right.
You're going to lose a lot of money.
Right. So, Joe, $5. Do you think they will update the Wraith cooler with the new AMD chips? The thing is, the Wraith cooler that's out right now is pretty darn good. I don't know that they need to. They might, just to stick one more feather in their cap, that AMD or Intel still doesn't give you a stock cooler that's worth a damn. And here we are upgrading ours, and all of a sudden, hey, ours run with an even lower fan profile.
Yeah.
And so stick that in your craw, Intel. That might happen. So I'm not saying yes, because it should be mount compatible, and honestly, if you're AMD, why would you go through the engineering challenges of building another cooler when your old one works just fine? If it's purely for marketing and aesthetics, I could see. But there's no reason to. Except on the 135-watt TDP chip. Maybe. So, maybe.
$5 for a maybe.
Right, $5 for maybe. I'm waiting for the slander and libel suits from SuperMicro against Bloomberg. And in fact, SuperMicro came out with a statement today and yesterday, and that's what this news article is SuperMicro went through a third-party investigation firm, and they found absolutely no credence to Bloomberg's claims.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. And they were very direct in saying there is nothing about that Bloomberg story that has even a seed of truth to it. And at the very end of their statement, SuperMicro said, and we are still discussing potential litigation against Bloomberg for this report.
Oh, I 100%.
And I guarantee Apple is as well, and I guarantee Amazon is as well too, because they were the main players that were implicated into this. Amazon and Apple really didn't take a stock hit from this, but if they had to devote IT time to fire up backup servers and transfer server loads and all that that's IT time, that's infrastructure, that's things that did impact the business in a meaningful way. That's a damage suit against Bloomberg for irresponsible reporting. This is not over by a long shot, and Bloomberg's going to have to get really good at their defenses, because it does not look good for them.
Yeah, they're going to basically have to have a board in hand saying, look, this is how it happened. I have it right here. Here's the proof. Otherwise, they're screwed. I mean, I can't see any other way of that not coming out.
Cooler Master does not design and make the coolers for AMD except for the Wraithripper. That is designed by Cooler Master. The standard Wraiths, I believe, are designed by someone else, but I don't think it's Cooler Master. And the Hyper 212, it's probably the best budget cooler out there. It is far and away from the best air cooler that you can get. It's good. It's really good. You can probably cool 100 watts with it. Maybe 80 watts effectively. Because I've tried to do, I did a 5820K on a Hyper 212, and I couldn't get more than about a 4.2 overclock, which is not a high overclock on that chip. So it'll do 80, 90, 95 watts.
What is the price of the fan?
It's $30.
Exactly.
So it's a good budget cooler. But if you're talking about going towards that 95 watt TDP, you're going to want something better.
Yeah.
And no, adding a second fan doesn't make that big of a difference. Because I had this on a push pull and I got 4.2.
Just put a box fan in front of it, you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Nvidia. Possible detail surface about Nvidia RTX mobile chips.
Which is cool.
I'm confused. Because RTX is supposed to stand for ray tracing cores. Why is there an RTX 2060? Because the 2060 was going to be a GTX chip.
I didn't even notice
that.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
I did not catch that.
So I put this in there because it's in the news. It's a reported detail. I'm dubious of this report. Unless they're just saying, we have verification of a 2060 mobile chip, and they just threw RTX out there because RTX is the name, and they didn't even think about it. But there's not going to be RTX 2060 processors. Those are going to be GTX. They're not going to include the tensor cores or the ray tracing cores or anything like that. They're just going to be CUDA, and that's it. They're going to be greater rasterization.
Mobile versions, they're going to do a 26.
Why would they put tensor cores on a 2060 mobile chip?
I don't know.
And remember, the laptop chips are the same exact chips now. There's not a defined mobile version. They run at a lower TDP, lower boost clock, but they're the same physical cores.
Maybe they're doing an Intel thing where they're just naming a bunch of things differently so you're confused.
Right. And it could be.
And you're like, totally be. Oh, I got the RTX for mobile. Yeah.
Right.
Sweet.
And it could totally be, but why would you put ray tracing into a mobile chip? I don't understand that on the outset.
It stands for something else.
It doesn't. Yeah.
It's for the mobile one. It stands for something else.
Here, the RTX is also for AI super sampling, and yes, it does have DLSS. They do use the deep learning algorithms to super sample, so you can get 4K at 1080p speeds. Supposedly. We have yet to be able to test it fully. But yeah, it's... I find this report dubious because there's just a couple things that don't quite make sense in the report. So if you can read that, there we go. Sure, thanks, Alexa.
Thanks for the cookies.
I don't care. So the RTX 2060 is supposed to come in above a GTX 1070 Max-Q and below the full-fledged laptop. So it's supposed to slot right
in between.
Right in between, which is kind of what we expected from the GTX 2060, is it's going to take over the previous 1070. So it kind of makes sense. It's slotted right in the middle there. There's also evidence of an RTX 2060 Max-Q and a 2070 Max-Q. Thing is, these are so easy to fake, and unless they were on the cusp of being released, I just don't know. I don't know on this one. I think it would be very cool if they came up with Tensor cores and RTX cores in a mobile footprint. But that's typically a desktop load.
Why would you?
If you're talking about deep learning, if you're talking about the things that actually take advantage of your Tensor cores, besides RTX. RTX, if they're thinking it's the next big thing, sure, throwing it in mobile kind of makes sense if it's the same die and you just throw it on the board. But I'm still stuck on the RTX 2060. That's not going to be an RTX chip. So,
I'm telling you, they're just branding it.
So the fact that they have screenshots showing RTX 2060 tells me this whole thing's fake.
It's just a bunch of fake news.
Right. So, let's see. Aren't RT cores distinct from the Tensor cores? Kind of, but again, these are going to be the same die. They're all on the same die. And so, yes, the Tensor cores are distinct from the RT cores, from the ray tracing cores, but they're not going to remove the Tensor cores from the 2070 and put it on laptop and leave the RTX cores because the Tensor cores are used in the ray tracing calculations. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. It feels weird. I don't like this story. I'm scared. I want to go home. Wait, I am home. All right. Speaking of smug sons of bitches.
Well, wait. I thought we're going into 2 other articles. We haven't even. I'm finished.
You're finished. Oh.
I assumed you were close.
I'm close.
So
why don't you intro the next?
You want to do these, or do you want to do one of those?
Well,
these are semi-cool.
These are room temp. We could break into a stout.
We could. Or we can stick with the Apple theme.
We can stick with Apple and see where the night takes us.
All right.
Figures, and you ruined my perfect segue, too.
Oh, sorry.
Speaking of smug sons of bitches.
I'm thirsty.
Yeah. Pretty good, still even cold.
Yep. Oh, wait, here you go.
So, John, what is this unlabeled thing that I'm about to drink?
This unlabeled mystery beer is...
Like I'm good at making things, but you, who knows?
Shut up. Let's hope there's just no chunks. But
I can't wait. I can't wait if there is.
This is... Jeff always makes fun of me for homebrews and all the things that I make. And I'm sure if you guys have been around for a while, you've heard Jeff tell a story more than once of Jeff's first experience trying my homebrew. But this is... it's like a ketchup bottle.
Had to get a knife to...
So recently I had some homebrew cider and some beer professionally canned by a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And so this is the cider because I know you like cider. So this is just a standard spiced cider. Mm-hmm. It's got some cinnamon and nutmeg in it. That's basically it.
Nice.
So it's a sweet cider.
Yeah.
But it's all organic. I press the cider myself.
Nice.
Pick the apples myself. The apples are actually picked on a family farm.
Yep. What's your ABV on it?
6.5.
That ain't too bad.
No. Still nice and carbonated.
Yeah. No apple chunks.
No apple chunks. A little hazy. It's got a little bit of
hazy,
that,
little residue. That's okay.
Yeah. It's got a bit of that.
I can smell a little boozy taste.
Yeah. It's got that little sulfuric acid.
Oh yeah.
But some ciders have that.
Yeah. Anyone got a round 2 going on? What are you drinking? I didn't read any of your first ones. I apologize.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Not chunky.
Yeah. Little tart. Little
tart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a mix of a bunch of apples. Actually, we have no clue what they are. But every year, me, Steve, and a bunch of friends, we press around 35, 40 gallons of cider.
Yeah.
So.
My Zelda glass there. All right. Good stuff.
Anyways, pompous, arrogant.
Yep. Speaking of smug sons of... there's a Jeep Pie in his Don't Mind Me pose with his giant smug-ass Reese's cup. So the Justice Department finally took notice of the complaints by the state of New York, the Attorney General's office, the FCC themselves, their own chair, not the chairman, but the board members, saying, yeah, there's a lot of illegal crap going on in here. Can someone please take a look at this?
Yeah.
The Justice Department has finally taken note and are starting to subpoena records from the FCC, asking them to show events that led up to potential identity theft and fake comments, and where those IPs were originated, and where did you get that information, and why was your site so glitchy, and why did it go down, and there's a lot of questions being asked right now from this smug son of a bitch. I don't get political, but that guy is human trash. I have no respect for that man. And I hope it shows. Usually I'm happy-go-lucky. I get along with most people.
Yep.
Nope, not that guy. Not that guy. Punch him square in the face. Justice Department. So officially, I'll read the official statement. Scrutiny over the fake net neutrality comments appear to be intensifying. And this was from BuzzFeed News, but they did have official sources that they did talk to.
Yes.
Jeep Pie has acknowledged that about 500,000 of the comments were tied to Russian email addresses, but the agency under his leadership has thus far refused Freedom of Information Act's requests for server logs that could help reveal the people responsible for the fake comments. The FCC claimed that the data could expose the U.S. to cyber attacks, but Commissioner Jessica Rowan Worsel argued that the regulator is merely trying to hide behind the FOIA exemptions. So they're claiming, oh no, we can't give up those IP addresses because we'd be vulnerable to cyber attacks, or we'd give up public information. These are all public comments. Yeah. There's nothing to hide from. If you publicly commented on the FCC site, that's public information. And if it was publicly abused, that's public information too.
Still, yeah.
So, yeah. More than half of the nearly 22 million comments were fake. According to one study, only 17.4% comments were percent of all comments were unique. Many of them repeated the same pro-repeal message almost verbatim, and many of them used fake email addresses from a handful of domains. On top of what looks to be Russian meddling, there are concerns that telecoms or anti-regulation groups may have flooded the comments with fake grassroots support to make it seem as if public opinion was on their side. Most of the genuine comments opposed the repeal. So most of the unique comments that were submitted said, I do not stand for the repeal of net neutrality.
Yeah.
Yep. So, God, I hope he goes to jail. I hope he goes to prison.
This is very similar to the the China chip thing, just with email hacking and falsifying. It's just this guy's more likely going to get caught.
Yep.
I hope they let him keep his Reese's peanut butter cup.
I hope they break it in front of him.
Or as they're pulling him away, does it justify where it just falls off the table and shit?
They arrest him with holding the cup, and they set it on top of the cruiser, and then they drive away with it on the roof. I want the dash cam footage of him watching it fall.
It's the tear.
I've never wanted a man to just emotionally break down more in my life. I don't know. What did you do? Oh, you drug a tab out.
Yes.
So just close it. I think we're done with the picture. I don't want to look at his face anymore anyway.
What?
Screw that guy.
Okay.
If I punch him, you'll give me all the beer in the world, Eric Del Toro.
If you punch him, Jeff will dab.
No, I'd be punching him.
Oh.
Eric says if I punch him, he'll give me all the beer in the world. Should have read up on the new Australian A bill, the way the Five Eyes are all sitting back, waiting to see how it's implemented. Yeah. Let's see. A little caught up on comments here. I have a lot of experience with FOIA. Public always isn't always public. You are correct. Having said that, in this case, it is 100% public because there is no information needed on the back end that needs to be made public. Exactly. This was a public comment system. The only information that is not publicly available is what IP addresses and potentially what email addresses they were submitted from, although in theory, those are still public information because they were part of the registration process for that. So you commented on the FCC website in a public forum about a public issue that they asked for comment on. There is nothing that is secret there. There's absolutely nothing.
Yeah, the government can't sit there and say, we want you to open this up to open commentary, but we want to reveal your identity.
Right.
No, that's not how it works.
Right, exactly. So, no, in fact, you can go search the public comments right now. You can go search them. When it was revealed that possibly fake information was used or falsified information, I searched my own name. I found my own public comment on it and verified that it was legit. And verify that it was submitted. I searched for most of my relatives, some of my older relatives, my grandparents, my dead great-grandparents, just to make sure, they weren't digging up socials out of the grave and having my departed grandparents say, no more government regulation
surprisingly,
heavy-handed Obama administration regulations.
All the email addresses were AOL, free account, CD-ROM drive. That's probably how they did it. So
apparently my great-grandfather didn't die. He moved to Stalingrad.
Yeah, exactly. He gets 6 months free AOL email with this disc.
No, net zero.
Net zero, sorry.
Screw that guy. All right. So,
kind of.
There's not really a segue there.
No, there's not really a segue there, but this
John, what was your favorite game when you were a kid?
Oh, when I was really little, but really when I got into gaming.
Mm-hmm.
When I got into gaming, Steve got me into first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Steve got me into first-person shooters because he put it on his computer and we had to play it late at night because my parents didn't allow it because they were gory. But I remember Wolfenstein as one of the very first ones I got to play. And then one of my favorites, Doom, came out.
Doom. Yep.
Doom was one of my favorites.
Yeah. Wolfenstein was good. Doom
took it to another level.
Now they're both made by
I forget what the company is called.
id.
Yeah.
But Wolfenstein was good. It's a good first-person shooter. It was one of the most revolutionary ones out there. When Doom came out a year or so later, it was that much better. It was that much more refined. It was that much better of an experience. Subjectively, I thought.
Well, Pete, I think as a video game aspect, people liked the concept of Doom better. The more destruction, the more horror, the bloodier,
the gory, the blood and guts,
bloody guts. Even though it was still heavily pixelated.
Yeah,
but you're like, I still get it.
But it was more realistic. Yeah. Wolfenstein is heavily cartoonized.
Yeah.
Now that's not to say there's not blood and guts and bleeding eyes and whatnot in Wolfenstein, but it's a much more gentle color palette in general. It's more bright, bold colors.
It was like 16-bit.
No, 16-bit, 256 color.
Yeah.
But they were brighter colors.
Yeah.
It was brighter environments where you got the bright blues against the stark yellows and whereas Doom was gritty.
It's Nazi Germany. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And compared to all the other shooters that had been out, it was just dark.
Yeah.
And the blood and guts and the demons and
that was it. It was like the demons, and you were fighting these
grotesque monsters.
looking things. You're like, oh my gosh, did you see that? He's got stuff coming out of his arms, even though you couldn't even tell. But
what was that? Could have swore I heard like a phone, like Siri or something, go off. Like you were talking and then something else went off.
Oh, rewind the tape.
That was weird.
We got tape.
I don't even have Discord up in here, so it wasn't that.
Google is listening.
But anyway, Doom was immersive. Play it at night with the lights off. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
So IDKFA, IDDQD, IDSPI, SPOPD. Don't try me. Yeah. All hair John Romero. We're getting to John Romero. Anyway, earlier this week, Doom turned 25. Now, I wanted to point this one out because this is kind of cool. This is HD Doom. So what this is the original Doom artwork put into a neural network to super sample it up to 8K and then reduce it down to 4K and then reduce it back down to 1080p again. Yeah. And they used artificial intelligence to super sample the game, but keep it original in the original pixel style. So it's not like these super sharp lines and whatnot. It really is just a super sampled, better, more modern looking of pixel art.
Yes.
And the results are flipping fantastic. So, yeah.
What I really love is that it still has a pixel feel to it.
Yes, it does.
But like the edges, like if you look close at the edges, like
the horns are sharp.
But the horns are sharp. The coloring is better. The blacks are blacker. They're smoother. It's
more refined without losing the original character.
Yeah,
is really what it is.
It really is.
This is what my mind's eye saw Doom as.
Yes.
If I'm thinking back to 10-year-old me playing this game again, this is really what it was.
But yeah, I mean, you can see like a comparison.
Yeah, that's a great example right there of the super sampling where it's exactly as you expect it to be in your mind's eye. Yeah. So if you want to try this out for yourself, there is a link in the video description of this video to that site, and at the bottom of that site is a link where you can download the HD package and play it.
Yeah.
So very cool stuff. Good way to celebrate the 25th anniversary, but there's an even better way to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Doom. John, what's the one thing you've always wanted in Doom?
More. Everyone wants more.
So what if I told you that for the 25th anniversary, John Romero wrote a 5th episode and released it for free?
Yep.
Yeah. You can go download an additional 9 levels, an entire new 5th episode in the original style as a spiritual successor, unofficial sequel, unofficial expansion to the original 1994 Doom.
Yeah.
1993, excuse me.
Close, it was like December.
Yeah,
but
yeah. 1993 Doom.
You can walk around and go,
yeah,
once more.
Yeah,
in a whole new world.
You can have your gun do this.
Yeah.
Do the figure 8.
And yes, and still hit dead center every time.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm shooting.
Just point in that direction. Yeah. Okay, that worked.
So yeah, John Romero released what he thinks is the proper fitting way to celebrate the 25th anniversary, and that's with 9 new levels. Again, you can download these for free. You can play them on any Doom players. You can play them on Doom 95. You can play them on modern OpenGL Doom iterations, or you can put the WAD file in the original Doom game and play it in DOS.
Yeah.
So these are written in the original Doom WAD format. So very, very cool stuff. So that leads right in pretty well into our gaming news.
Yep.
Eric, when can I buy Doom HD?
Is that free? Or let's get the...
If you own a shareware copy of Doom, you can download the Doom WAD file. I don't know about Doom HD, about if it's going to be commercially available or if this is just a Doom player with enhanced sprites. I'm not entirely sure. But I don't think it's going to be for sale. I think this is a free fan-made upgrade.
Yeah.
Which is very common. Doom is one of the most fan-made games out there.
Like, people build their own levels all the time and build off of it.
Do this for Oregon Trail. That would be great.
That would be fun.
That would be great.
Wait. What? Make Oregon Trail gory in a first-person shooter or HD?
I'd say HD.
Oh, I was hoping it'd be.
Yeah.
Yes, let's die in dysentery in HD.
No, have you ever played the game Oregon Trail? ORGAN Trail. We'll play it. Okay. I'll get you a copy of it. I have a DRM-free version of it. So there's a game called Oregon Trail. Not Oregon Trail, Oregon Trail. That is Oregon Trail set in the zombie apocalypse. And it's the same game mechanics of Oregon Trail, where you have to, instead of hunting for food, you're scavenging for supplies, and you're shooting zombies, so it's the same
idea.
Isometric shooter. You are driving a broken down station wagon across the country from like Pennsylvania to Oregon, where you hear they're safe in Oregon, and you can get things like you get a flat tire, or you have to it's the same exact style gameplay. It's amazing. I think it's only like $5.
Cross the river of blood.
Yeah, exactly. You have to mow your way through shopping malls.
That's awesome.
Do you come across a horde, but they're inactive? Do you gun the car and try to get by them and outrun them? Do you get out of the car and sneak by them, or do you ambush them? So it gives you those scenarios, and then it just does the scenario for you. And then there's some live action playing as well. It's exactly the same style. You start out with 4 teammates, and they get picked off in various ways. John broke a leg and had to be put down.
Yeah.
Kind of crap. Or John was bitten and had to be put down. Yeah. Good stuff. Anyway, brings us into gaming news.
Not so good stuff.
Not so good stuff. Not so good stuff for Bethesda. Bethesda's been on a roll lately. Now, we talked about briefly last week, and in fact the week before, like I said, I've been trying to get away from this Bethesda news. There's nothing really new that's bad, except they're denying claims for the canvas bags allegedly to a couple people, and that's making the rounds, where apparently a receipt from Walmart isn't valid proof of purchase. That was on Reddit today.
Oh my
where the
God,
claim
I
was
didn't see that one.
Yeah, the claim was denied because they didn't accept the receipt from Walmart as a valid proof of purchase for the collector's edition, so he can get his canvas bag instead of the nylon bag. There's a couple others that are out there too that just Bethesda just crapping over themselves in the worst ways possible. I mentioned Leonard French last week. He runs the YouTube channel Lawful Masses with Leonard French, and he is a copyright attorney. He did a post a couple of weeks ago about Fallout 76. What can you actually do? Where he broke down the end-user license agreement of how do you submit a claim to Bethesda ZeniMax? How do you go about asking for a refund? What are your steps if they do not meet the claim to your satisfaction?
Yeah.
So if you ask for a refund and they deny it, what are your steps that you can take after that? And he breaks it down. How do you start arbitration? How do you file an official claim with ZeniMax proper, et cetera, et cetera. He has gone a step further, and he has created a website called falloutwithfallout.com. Which I think is great because I actually use that same tag, the Fallout from Fallout, I think is what I said in one of my video titles. He has created a website that auto-generates the forum that you can submit to ZeniMax. If you scroll down there, all the way to the bottom, there you go. There's 5 fields that you enter. Enter those 5 fields, hit submit. This does not store any information on this website. Instead, what it does is it generates a PDF that you can print out and then mail to ZeniMax. That starts the process of submitting a claim. ZeniMax has 45 days to respond. If they do not respond within 45 days or they do not respond satisfactorily to you, you can then request arbitration at ZeniMax's expense. The risks are up to you. As Leonard French said in his video, I am not giving you legal advice, telling you what to do, what you should say, what claims you should make. Should you make a claim? That is completely up to you.
He says that multiple times.
To understand the user license agreement, what your risks are. Because if you go to arbitration and you lose, the court fees are on you.
Yeah.
The lawyer fees are on you. The court time is on you. The arbiter is on you. ZeniMax up front agrees to pay for the arbitration. But that's as far as they claim to go. And the winner of the arbitration, which is basically the hearsay of one guy after hearing arguments, the winning party can request court fees or legal fees be paid by the losing party. So consider that before getting into this, of how far you want to push this. But he has created a website where he will generate the form for you with all the fields filled out that you need to fill out. You can print it out. You can mail it to ZeniMax if you want to submit a claim. But the wording has to be on you, and the claim has to be on you. He will also mail the claim for you for a small fee. So if you don't even want to mail it, he will. You can generate the claim. You can pay him $2 or $3, and he will mail it out for you. But he is not in no way taking mass action with this or anything like that. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't have to go into all these disclosures. I'm just repeating what he said. Go
ahead.
I say if you're really interested in doing this, go watch his video on Fallout with Fallout, and then he has a follow-up video about the creation of this website, which are both fantastic.
And the video's only about 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad.
Now, he is usually a very long watch. He posts 1.5 2 hour long videos a lot of times. But he is a fantastic watch. I'm not going to click play on that video because the last thing I want to do is piss off a copyright attorney. But there's a link to this website as well as the video where he says he is launching his website. You can go check him out. He is a fantastic watch, even just for the entertainment value, let alone the service that he's giving back to the Fallout community.
Yeah.
So, very, very good stuff. What are we talking about? The other guy looks like an American Simon Pegg. I missed something in the conversation here. It's essentially Fallout 4.1. I wouldn't even call it that because they removed features.
Yeah.
This doesn't have
so many
NPCs.
glitches.
Doesn't even have a story. This is like a
Hey, let's just walk around. There's a random quest here that you're going to need to do, but it's pointless.
This is an alpha test of a multiplayer server in which they found a lot of problems with it. So.
And you had to buy it.
Yeah, and you had to buy it. Yeah. There's a number of people who reviewed the game and said this should be early access. This is what we expect out of an indie early access studio.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny when the first part of the Fallout came out. What was that? What was that comedy? Grandma's Boy. You ever watch that?
What was that?
That was that. It was an Adam Sandler's, like all of his buddies except Adam Sandler, where he's a game developer.
No, I never watched that one.
Oh gosh, there's a developer that he was like a genius prodigy, and he's trying to do his second video, and he pretends to a video game, but he pretends to be a robot. Mm-hmm. But there's a bunch of scenes where he's trying to program this video game to make it better than the previous one because it was such an epic one, and it's constantly failing. It just reminded me of that scene so much. But if you haven't seen that, actually, that's a great humor. Mm-hmm. It is a pothead movie, but it's a pothead video game developer movie.
Yeah.
Which is like, there's a lot of...
Right up your alley.
Right up your alley.
They already think you're drunk all the time anyway. Might as well get high.
Might as well. It's legal.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like I said, huge shout out to Leonard French. I watch him just to watch him, and it just so happens that we're talking about Fallout at the same time.
Yeah.
So this one is funny.
Actually, it's kind of funny. We're talking about a copyright lawyer.
Hold on. Should we really piss off that one guy that I said, was it John Claude or Sylvester Stallone? Who invested in the cryptocurrency?
Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal. Thank you.
Steven Seagal.
Yeah, Steven Seagal investing in Bitcoin.
Yeah, or it wasn't even investing in it. It was he
was the poster child for it.
Yeah, he
was the sponsor
for it.
Which, by the way, most sponsors for those sketchy cryptocurrencies are now being charged with currency fraud, with exchange fraud, where they cheated people out of initial coin offerings and did some other things. So there's actually some people who are in some pretty serious problems, including Steven Seagal, if my memory serves correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
So sorry, there was one guy who lit me up in the comments a while back.
We
paragraphs upon paragraphs.
This is a legit thing. He even stated articles of pointing out how high their value of. Look, this is a legit one. Yep. It's going to be skyrocketing. And then I think we pointed out like 2 days later. Look, it plummeted.
Yep.
Just like we all stated.
And I think we brought up an article where Steven Seagal got in a little bit of trouble for backing the currency. So, yeah. What was that? Sorry, huh?
It was a good joke in the old studio.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so...
But kind of speaking of copyright
infringement... Speaking of copyright, speaking of things that are just doomed to fail, why...
Oh my gosh, this made me laugh.
So, it's no secret I'm a big fan of Game Boys and whatnot. I've got
almost every single one.
Almost every single one. So I finally bought a Switch. Get off my damn back. I have a Switch now. I've got 4 or 5 games for it. I've got a 3DS. I've got the original 3DS. So this is the 3DS XL, or the new 3DS XL. I've also got a 3DS XL. I've got a...
and didn't you do...
I've got a DS Lite. I've got a DS. I've got an Advance SP. I've got a Game Boy Color still.
Well, you even did a video of like a ROM system too that you got from Wish or China.
Yeah, a couple knockoff cartridges.
Cartridges. And if you go on to any of those, you'll see them all the time. Because I always thought about buying some for like
Yeah.
Christmas to give like nephews and nieces, or even just people around my work. Like, here's a video game console.
Right.
$10, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they're crap.
Here's 500 games for your Sega.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, by the way, you can buy on Amazon.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, you can get like a 400 game cartridge for Sega Genesis for about $30 on Amazon.
And they're going to be charging us how much for the Sega Classic?
They already do. The Sega Classic's actually been out for a long time.
Yeah.
They started releasing that like 3-4 years ago with like 60 games on it, and it made no news. Nintendo releases a crappy knockoff for 20 games.
Yeah,
and people lose their damn minds.
I remember seeing the Sega one, and they even did like the Ataris years ago, and I'd see it like 10 years ago. I'd see it on like Black Friday sales or Walmart, Fred Meyer, electronic sections on Christmas. Like, buy this and relive your childhood.
I have an Atari one somewhere over here.
So
somewhere in my my
but it was all pre-built console with the pre-built games.
Yep. Had your 5 classic Namco games.
Yeah.
Had Pac-Man and Pole Position and a couple others. Yeah, I have one of those somewhere here. Anyway, Soulja Boy is making a Soulja Boy.
You're gonna Superman that.
The pun writes itself. I mean, for crying out loud. So this is Soulja Boy. If you don't know who he is getting into the hardware console business.
Oh, he is.
Not only is he making a Soulja Boy handheld, he is making a Soulja Boy game console.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Is he going to land himself in some legal trouble?
Oh.
So we all know of the consoles that exist. If you scroll down to the next article down, I think. Yeah, right there. These are pictures of the Soulja Boy game consoles.
Well, they look awfully familiar.
They look awfully familiar. One of them's kind of styled after an Xbox One. The other's kind of styled after... Hold on. Go to the next tab.
Wait a second. Well, that looks familiar. What is that?
That is a Denju A320. I know that console. That is like one of the original knockoff Game Boy emulators that you could buy that was a retail product. It was like $150 back in the day, but that was 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So
released February 2009.
Right. Yeah, so I was darn close.
Yeah.
I was just guessing. Yeah, 10 years ago. So I bought one at one point. I don't know where it went. But Soulja Boy is releasing these. Now, the thing about them is they are going to come with 3,000 games with access to PlayStation, PC, Sega, Namco, Game Boy Advance, and NES games preloaded. The Soulja Boy console retails for $199.99, but you can cop them up on sale for $149. Meanwhile, the Soulja game handheld is $149, but it's on sale for $99 right now. Nice try, JCPenney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my, because he's gonna get slapped with a lawsuit of copyright.
Yeah.
Because I was watching someone state like, okay, they were referring to this, and then they stated, okay, let's just take one video game, Super Smash Brothers, the latest one.
Right.
Has like the most characters, 49 characters, something like that. Insane amount. And the amount of rights Nintendo had to get, the paperwork, how long it took to just get all the characters to use it, the usage of that took them years, hundreds of thousands of dollars of things. And then Soulja Boy magically.
But I hear Waluigi is in a contract dispute right now. He's holding out for something better. He wants to do his own thing.
Yeah, Soulja Boy can get somehow PlayStation, Nintendo,
and he somehow
Sega.
made Nintendo the bad guy. It's really weird.
All in one system, too. PlayStation. No one can even get them to talk to each other. But Soulja Boy can do it.
But by the way, 3,000 games from multiple systems. It's an emulator box. It's all it is.
It's a Chinese emulator
It's a Chinese emulator.
You can get this on any Chinese website, eBay.
$40?
Yeah. The handheld, $10.
Right.
I've seen them. And you can get them even with... they usually look more like the PSPs, but it does the exact same thing.
Yep.
SD card readable.
Yep.
All adjustable. Yeah, and then the console, probably $40-$50.
Yep.
Heck, it's probably just a Raspberry Pi in there.
Yep.
This is horrible. I can't wait for after the Christmas year our Christmas season because they said, "Oh, it's coming out perfectly for the holiday season."
Sorry. Hey Rev, in comments, who's asking problems? Who's making problems? So
Smack going down. Smack's going down.
Yeah. So usually, if you're new to the show, we usually do a Q&A at the end of the show. Usually the last 20 minutes is Q&A. And we're actually going to get to it a little early because this is our last news story.
We got nothing.
But don't spam the comments or the chat with, "Hey Jeff, answer me. Hey Jeff, answer me. Hey Jeff, answer me." So yeah, not cool. And we do have a couple active mods in chat as well. So don't give them any hell. So anyway, we will be answering questions here in just another minute.
Yeah.
But don't derail us in chat and don't make me need to draw attention to a mod to figure out what the hell you're doing. Show some respect.
I'm going through. I'm not seeing it. But
yeah. Well, he might have removed him.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's probably my boss. Yep. He loves stirring it around.
Yep. So anyway, this is gonna get smacked down if it ever even ships.
Oh yeah.
From Soulja Boy. So. Yep. Yeah, we don't blatantly ignore people. This is not an interactive show until the very last time. And you'll know when it's an interactive show. So.
That's when we get really drunk.
Tony Schlepp, notice me. No. Oh, damn.
Wah, wah, wah. Oh.
So, yeah, someone feels entitled.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep. So. Anyway, Soulja Boy later wrote, "We made $250,000 from my game console, and it's been less than 24 hours. Bull.
You haven't even...
Bull. You did not make $250,000 from the knockoff Chinese console.
No, it's because he bought them all.
Lifetime. You didn't make that.
He bought them all.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, I'm giving these away as Christmas presents and promotional things." And because he probably has a sub-company who went and bought it out.
DCCXL, I notice you. I see you in comments and chat all the time. I'll notice you. So. Yep. So, yeah. God's so good. Wow, man. End quote. Bootlegger not. Salute to Soulja Boy for staying in the entrepreneurial grind. Prenuial. There we go. Check out his tweets below. You can cop up the game's consoles on SouljaWatch.com.
Can we... You know what you should do, though? You should go... message Soulja Boy. Say, "Hey,
I love a review.
Craft computing. I want to review your product, Soulja Boy.
I want a review sample."
Yeah,
I'm gonna reach out.
That would be great.
I'm gonna reach out.
Like I don't want any. Don't pay me anything. Just send me a console. I will review it for you. So we even already talked about it on the show, and our listeners and viewers were going crazy over it.
Yep. We want to know the Soulja Boy. I want the Soulja Boy. I want them both. I want the console too.
Oh, I'd love to see this.
I know what the handheld is, but I want to know what the console is. Seriously. Okay. I think we're ready to answer some questions. So
fire away.
The floor is open. What do you guys want to talk about? If it's relevant in the news, we tried to get some news in. If I didn't read about it, I probably won't talk about it because I don't want to sound like an idiot on this channel. But if you have any questions at all, let them fly.
Should someone get an i9 or a 7th gen i7 for a 2080 Ti?
It doesn't matter. They're the same chip.
Yeah.
8th gen versus 7th gen. They're the same exact, 9th gen versus 8th gen, they're the same exact chip. The only difference is the 9900K, which is the 8-core 16 thread, and the 8-core 8 thread. That's it. Performance-wise is going to be pretty equal when you're talking the 9600K versus the 8600K. Yeah. I don't know what to do with Intel right now. Honestly, I would not spend $550 for an i9 9900K. I wouldn't spend it. Yes, it's the fastest gaming chip ever. It's not that much faster.
No, and you're spending, like you said, five plus.
And honestly, I'd hesitate to spend more than $375 on an 8700K. I got an 8700K for $320. So, Yeah. Wait for Ryzen 4 because apparently it turns water into wine. Nice. Okay. What do you think about the Rock Pro 64 Sony edition? Oops, I mean PS Classic. I think it was Sony scraping the bottom of the barrel and seeing how little hardware they could throw at a PlayStation emulator, and I think they'll sell a bunch because, well, the game catalog didn't jump off the page at me. Not even Gran Turismo. Really, you own that, Sony. That's your game. Why isn't it in there? And then the hardware is a little under-spec'd. Especially when the Super Nintendo Classic is outperforming you 1-to-1 on performance for your PlayStation emulator. That's just embarrassing, using the same emulator. So, yeah, I think it kind of fell flat, and I think it's been pretty well established. Opinions on China gaming bans on Fortnite and PUBG? Not aware of that.
Oh, I think I heard about that.
Did you?
I just didn't read it. Yeah. But I saw an article.
Hey lads, be lads, drink some beers. Exactly, Reverend.
Like
exactly. MSI OC on the 2200 GE. I think it was a mistake, and they didn't intentionally overclock the chip, and they're sorry about this, and they'll be releasing a firmware that will fix it soon. But if you want to use the existing firmware, we'll still provide that as a download link on our website. They knew exactly what they were doing. They didn't accidentally overclock the 2200 GE to 3.9 gigahertz. So, and I don't care. I think that's good. i7 8th Gen versus Ryzen 2700X. Well, considering it's half the price, well, not half the price, but you can get a 2700X for $310. It's hard pressed to find an 8700K right now for less than $400 because of Intel's chip shortage. So honestly, 2700X, you're not going to notice that much performance drop, especially if you're gaming at 1440p. And at this point, who's building a brand new system and building it with a 1080p monitor? Not a lot of people. So, and unless you're buying something less than a 1080 Ti or an RTX 2080, there's no CPU bottleneck at 1440p. Yeah. So build a 1440p system based on a 2700X, you'll be good to go for a long time. And even when you upgrade your GPU in 3 years, it's not that big a deal. It's not that much worse. It's 10% worse than the 8700K.
The super chat.
We get a super chat? I didn't see anything.
Said, could you answer the super chat question I asked about the Hyper 212? I think that's what the whole thing has been going about. Could you re-ask the question?
Hold on. I can search chat now.
Oh. See? Yeah. A while.
Yeah. I don't see a 212 question.
Oh, adding a second fan on a Hyper 212 Evo will get you. Oh, no, that's not the question.
It doesn't do that much. It helps. You get 5 degrees cooler. And it's higher pressure, and you won't peak quite as high, but a 212 is still only so good. It's still only a 4 heat pipe cooler. It's still only a very thin aluminum tower cooler. It's still not great. 1080p gaming on a 240 hertz monitor, LOL. Yeah, good luck getting up to 240 hertz on every game.
Not a 1080p.
Yeah.
Wait, so how much did that monitor cost you? 240 hertz at 1080p?
Probably $400.
Yeah. You know what you could have gotten for $400?
I've got a 1440 144 hertz review coming up that's $320.
Yeah.
So, let's see what else. I need the Soulja Boy. I want the Soulja Boy. I'm going to ask for him.
Right.
I want review units. Let's see. Am I playing Smash Ultimate? I didn't buy it yet.
I'm hoping to get it. That'll be like...
Yeah.
I have to put things on my Christmas list. So
yeah.
It's like, I hope I'll get it.
Yeah. If I don't get it for Christmas, I'll probably buy it. So Rhett and I have something to play in the hotel room in between video editing. Yeah, obviously it's on my list. I've never been great at Smash Brothers. I'm not a great Smash Brothers player. I enjoy the game, but it's not something I'm going to grind at. unfortunately, it's one of those games that's never ever going to go on sale.
No,
So,
it's always going to be in that $50.
It's always going to be
$49.
$60.
Yeah.
So
You might find a used one for $45.
Yeah.
$40.
So maybe I'll buy it used here in a couple months. I asked you to put 2 Noctuas on a 212 and see what the TDP would be like. It's not going to change that much. Airflow is not the limiting factor. The limiting factor on the 212 is just going to be surface area. It's going to be mass of copper and heat pipes versus how much airflow can you put into it. And the fact of the matter is, I've done high-end fans on a 212 before, and it makes a couple degree difference, but it doesn't turn a 85 watt TDP cooler, which is what I classify that as, into a 150 watt TDP cooler. It doesn't matter. There is diminishing returns on fan pressure, just like there's diminishing returns on radiator support, on how much cooling capacity a radiator has. There's an upper limit that you just can't cross, and it's the same thing for air coolers. So
we should get a phone number, or a digital phone number they can call in, and we could take calls.
I'm totally opposed to that, and I'll tell you why. When things are in the chat, I'm in charge of the show. Mm-hmm. I can't control what someone says. And even if I had a moderator or a call screener or something, well, what do you want to talk about? Okay, well, we're going to put you live on the air. Here you go. Ask your question. And they get on the air and they go, oh my God, Jeff. Okay. My question is, and I have to bleep out the whole thing, and I don't have 20 seconds of airtime to bleep out. And so all of a sudden I've invited a show who just wants to scream anti-Semitic things on my show. It's like, no live comments on the show. I control the flow of the show. I control the tone of the show. I control what questions I want to answer and what questions I don't want to answer. So, yeah, 1-800, not happening. Yep. I paid $250 for a Pixio PX276, 1440p, 144 hertz TN panel with FreeSync. And I have an upgraded version of that panel behind me. It's the 276. Yep. Review of the PX276i coming up very shortly, within the next week or two.
You drank the Elysian Bifrost, right?
Didn't you? Yeah. I had that last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Apocalypse IPA. We have beer recommendations from Jeff Coombs.
Yep.
You're right, my right, who's right?
Who right? Huh?
Apparently it's the guy on the right's on his time.
No.
Yeah. I'm not drunk this time.
I'm on the right, apparently.
I guess.
Yeah. Whatever.
Let's
see. 1-800 not happening. No operators are standing by. What do you think in terms of using frame times and benchmarks versus FPS? I think it's a really good metric. I think you're probably referencing Steve at Gamers Nexus. Yes, frame times are what matters most. And I've referenced this a couple of times, but no one wants to listen to them. And until that attitude changes, it's a really hard thing to talk about. I've always advocated that it doesn't matter what your max and what your average and what your lows are, as long as it's steady, as long as it's consistent. If a game is always 100% of the time 45 FPS, that's a pleasant experience. A lot of consoles are actually pleasant experiences because they're consistent 30 FPS. Mm-hmm. The occasional frame dip here and there, but 1 or 2 frame dips does not a consistent experience make. It doesn't matter if 0.1% of the time I dropped a frame. It doesn't matter. What matters is that 99.99% of your frames are at 30 FPS. It's actually a consistent experience. So if I'm getting an average of 72, but a 0.1% low of 22, that's not a consistent experience. That means my frames are doing this, and there's noticeable glitches and hiccups and whatnot. Even if I'm going from 140 down to 73, or
I'm gonna get that headache effect of like my eyes.
Occasionally, your whole frame is gonna. It's just this little twitch. And it starts on the screen, and then it develops in your eye.
Yeah, and you're just gonna start blinking. Like, why did I stare at the screen? My head hurts.
And it doesn't matter how high your frames are. If you get frame drops once every couple of seconds, that drop, and it's a noticeable drop, that's not consistent. So, yes, I believe frame time is a more important metric, But getting people to talk about that and understand what that is, and getting the focus there, not only for gamers but for developers, and trying to make the game so they're not taxing your graphics card at 100% all the time, which means if it's taxed 100% all the time, you're gonna have those drops.
Yeah.
I play with VSync on a lot of times. Number one, my UD4379 monitor has terrible screen tearing and no adaptive sync, and it's a 60 hertz panel. Well, I can drive 4K 60 with pretty regular results on my graphics cards, or even just 1440 at 60, no problem. And this scales 1440 very well if you watch my review of that monitor. But I turn VSync on because I don't need to go above 60. I'm not gaming competitively. I don't care about sub-millisecond accuracy when I'm in Counter-Strike. I'm just playing for fun.
I'm just playing to play, yeah.
Right.
I got a few hours to do something. I want to play, I want to review, and I'm going to have a drink. And honestly, by the end of this drink, frame rate, I don't care.
I don't care. Right. So yeah, actually gaming consistency, as long as it's like locked at 60 and I don't get those drops because my graphics card's sitting at 70% and the one that has to render a little higher, it jumps to 85, big freaking deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's what I think. Let's see. Human eye can only see 24 FPS. Well, yeah, we can also only see 4 gigabytes of RAM, so.
What are you talking about? I can open this up and I bet I can see more than that.
My Red Dead character has tuberculosis. How do I fix it? He eventually gets over it. He no longer has tuberculosis. That is no longer his primary concern in life. I'll say that. Okay. Just like internet service, 99.99% uptime. Yeah. Thanks. Let's see. Top 10 beers in the last year. Not ever, just last year. Top 10 beers.
Ooh, that's hard.
Yep, that is hard.
That's a hard one. Honestly, I gotta say though, one of the recent ones is the barley. I tried the Bourbon County Stout, this year's barley wine. Sorry, not barley, wheat wine. Wheat wine. I thoroughly enjoyed that. If I could have, I actually do have another bottle of that, but I won't be aging. But thoroughly enjoying that. Where is it? Basically, almost anything from like Great Notion. They've been doing some really fantastic stuff. I guess I kind of go off of one-off stuff. Maybe there might be like season or standard ones that I really enjoy.
Yeah, the problem with John and I and Steve, especially, is we drink a lot of one-off beers.
Yeah.
My fridge is nothing but single or dual bottles of beer that I'll buy because we buy them $5-6 at a time.
Yeah.
And I don't buy cases of beer and I'm just going to enjoy this IPA for the month. I'll buy a bottle of one IPA, and then the next day I'm off to a wheat ale, and then the next day I'm drinking a Belgian, and the next day I'm drinking this. I don't drink something consistently enough to really be able to form a top 10 list. No,
yeah, that's the problem. Even if you, unlike Jeff, I have an Instagram account, and I'm just posting and all I do is post the beers that I've drink, and most of them are during the weekend or something. But it's always very inconsistent. It's never the same one twice.
Right. I will say when I went to the Festival of Stout, the Fort George Festival of Stout, everything on the list there.
Yeah. Well, you had a fun time with the Suge Knight.
The Suge Knight.
The Suge Knight seemed to be Jeff's poison and choice that night. I wasn't there, but I heard plenty of stories from him and friends that took him there. They were floored by what Jeff did, what happened. Well, it's not just what I did. It was what the group collectively did. So don't pin that all on me. Well, all the stories are, man, did you hear what Jeff did? How did he even make it back to the hotel room? Shut up. That's as far as we're taking that. I made it back to the hotel room in one piece at 10:30 p.m. I'll have you know. It was only 10:30. And the guy I was rooming with was already passed out. Yeah. So, was that Nate? No, it was Baldy. Oh, not Rob. Was it Rob? No. Bus driver? Tour bus guy. Yeah, Rob. Yeah. Rob. Oh, okay, yeah. His name's Rob. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, it was a good night.
was a good night.
Okay, they ask, what's your go-to cheap beer?
Go-to cheap beer. Ooh. What qualifies as a cheap beer?
Okay, I guess, my definition of a cheap beer is this is what I bring as a pack to a barbecue.
Is I can bring it in a 6-pack.
Yeah, if I can bring it in a 6-pack.
Right.
That's my definition of the cheap beer, the 6-pack, the $10 6-pack.
Sorry. Sir Riley says, Jeff drank 9 beers. No, at one point, I started with $20 and I was just going to spend $20 there. And my whole idea was to actually vlog it somewhere the footage exists of the descent into madness. I need to see if I can find that SD card. Anyway, so I started the day vlogging and it eventually just evolved into me just like drunkenly stammering into the camera. And then some rather crude shots from people who got a hold of my camera. I started the day with $20 and they were 1, 2, or 3 token pours. And I spent the day with a lot of 1 and 2s. And I remember at one point going back and buying an additional $40 in tokens and then reaching into my pocket and going, where the hell did my tokens go? And then buying an additional $40 in tokens. And like that's all the cash I had on me because I entered with $100 and I left with 0 and it all went to beer. I didn't buy any food. I didn't buy
And the particular beer, if I remember the story correctly, the beer that you were drinking was like an 11-12% 14%. Big.
That's how we finished the night, and it was a 1 token pour for a 14% beer.
Yeah.
And I spent $20 on that.
Yeah. So
like seriously, my last $20 went to that 14% beer. So yeah. That one got out of hand.
Yeah.
That one got out of hand quickly. That was good though. That was fun. Best barbecue beer.
Yes.
Let's see. Is it 10 Barrel the Trailhead?
Yeah,
Trailhead IPA?
They have that.
That one's pretty solid. And you can get a 6-pack for $8.
Yeah.
So a pretty solid regular IPA, 6% IPA.
Yeah.
That one's pretty good. I tend to like some of the cheaper IPAs more than the porters. If you want a stout, the Worthy Brewing out of Bend, the Lights Out Stout.
Oh yeah, Lights Out Stout's good.
Fantastic. I have a 6-pack in the fridge right now.
Yep, Lights Out Stout's good.
It's a great one to just keep on hand.
It is a great example of this is what a basic first homebrewer stout should taste like.
Yes, exactly.
This is like if you're your homebrewer and this is your first stout beer, that's what it should taste like.
Yep. It is nothing mind-blowing. It doesn't make you think about it. Oh, let me explore this beer. It's just a good 8% stout.
Yep.
And it's like $9 for a 6-pack, so it's not terribly expensive.
No.
So those are a couple ones to really keep your eye out for.
Yeah. I like, I find myself going to Ninkasi a lot.
Yes.
I usually go
Tricera hops.
Tricera hops. It's usually Tricera hops or Dawn of the Red. If I can find Dawn of the Red.
Dawn of the Red is amazing. I love that beer.
I think it's only sold like 3 or 4 months out of the year.
Yeah.
October to the end of the year.
Yep.
But it's an amazing red IPA.
Yes.
Where it's malty, it's hoppy.
Yep.
But it's not overly aggressive, like 7%.
Yep.
So I think I might have a 6-pack. Because
one that they came out with recently that really surprised me was they're Made in the Sun. I don't know if you
Made
had
in
that
the
one.
Sun, yeah.
Really good. Yep. Really good blonde ale.
Yeah.
Yep. So good stuff.
Yeah. So those are cheaper. When we say cheap beer, there was some other beer news. I forget what state it was, but they're trying to help ban what they're calling 3.5 beer, which is low ABV beer.
Yeah. Empty calorie beer.
Empty calorie beer,
yeah.
Which I was thinking, I was like, oh, look, we're so much better than the Netherlands that we're trying to get rid of stuff. And there's like, Skull. Oh, not Skull, but
Norway.
Claw.
Norway.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I feel bad for him.
Yeah. Yeah, max of 4.7%. Bitch, you can't sell less than 3.5 here. Yeah, here's a $5 beer. Yeah, in a pub, usually $4, $5, $6 pint is usually what I'll go for. I try not to spend too much, unless it's like some rare thing that I want to try. And usually then it's a tulip. I'll spend $8 for a tulip if it's something really rare that.
I want to try that. That sounds really good. Barley wine, German beer.
But it's 14%.
Yeah. Yeah, usually if it's, I'll go, I look at the beer list. Oh, there's nothing here. I've tried everything. Okay, I'll take a Boneyard. I'll take something like that.
Take a traditional. Take a Vortex Fort George.
Vortex Fort George. Yeah, a traditional beer that's sold year round here.
Yep.
$5-6 a piece. That's what I go to. If it's the same price point and I've never had it, I usually get that just because I've never had it.
Right. And there's a number of breweries in Oregon that they make a lot of standards that you can always go with, and they're always good. Ninkasi's a great example. Fort George is a great example. 10 Barrel...
they're okay.
Sometimes. They have some really good stuff. Who's the other one over in Bend? Deschutes. There's another one that I'm thinking of too. Well, there's like
the Boneyard's in Bend.
Boneyard. Block 15 out of Corvallis is one that you can get a lot of places. That's just pretty much anything they make is going to be good. So
pretty much most beer in Oregon is really good.
Sorry, we have a Norwegian on here. Norway has 4.5%. It's Sweden that's 3.5.
Oh.
Those damn Swedes.
SW. Software. I used to use. Someone's asking me a question.
Ooh.
They're asking me if I use any brewing software.
This is none of my business.
Such as beer. It's software. It's tech related, Jeff. Beersmith or Beer Target. I used to use that. I use it for a base recipe. I'll use Beersmith. I've used that before. Just to plug in my base recipe. Try to get the gravity, the sugars, ABV, just to hit my target. I used to use it to save my recipes. Now my wife got me a nice leather-bound journal. I like handwriting it in there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit more personal. And I found a lot of times that I forget my password. I'm like, screw that. Stuff like that. So I used to use it. I know lots of people that do like it. I still use it, though. Every now and then they have pretty good indexes of substitutes.
Yeah.
I have this hop. What's the substitute? But I couldn't find it. What's the substitute for that? But a good Google search will do the exact same thing for you.
Yep. So. Number one advice for someone getting into homebrewing, write it down. Write down what you did, what temperature it is, how long you boiled it, what's your mash, what's your grain bill, how down to the ounce what you put into here. Write it down and figure out what you did right and figure out what you did wrong. And the only way you're going to do that is by experimentation.
Yep. Pretty much. Obviously, if it's your first time, you're probably not going to have the thermometers, have everything. So if it's your first time, don't worry about it. Just have fun. And if you have fun, then start doing that. And you don't need to upgrade to, I need to get the big kits. No, buy the little stuff first. Buy the thermometers. Buy the temperature control. Buy water clarifying chemicals. They're super cheap. Hardening, whatever, bottling. You can control the temperature of your room or your fridge, or just maintain it, watch it, and I store my bottles in my garage, and I just put a thermometer in your garage.
Yep.
Those are the baby steps you take. And if you start enjoying that process, you can then upgrade to bigger and more equipment.
Yep. Hey, Jeff, what's your speculation on the R7 3850? The speculation I've heard is going to be an R9 3850. Supporting quad-channel memory to take care of the bandwidth and issues of high core and thread counts when it comes to the multi-chiplets on the single die. Multi-part question. I think there is a distinct possibility we're going to get a 16-core, 32-thread AM4 chip. Whether that's going to take advantage of quad-channel memory versus the current dual-channel memory of the platform, I don't know. Now, AMD has stated that through 2020, AM4 is going to be a supported platform, and all of their Ryzen chips are going to be on that platform. They've stated that from the very beginning. I doubt they're going to move to quad-channel memory because, number one, they're going to break compatibility with previous generation boards, or at least they're going to hamper their CPUs if you install a 3850 on an X470 or an X370 motherboard. That being said, if they come out with a 16 core, I certainly hope it has quad channel memory. And I think there's unused pins where they could possibly do that. But that's entirely up to AMD's engineering department, and maybe the X570 platform, one of the upgrades is it has quad channel memory support. I don't know. Quad channel memory certainly does improve Ryzen performance, as is evidenced by even 8-core Threadripper on first gen versus second gen 8-core dual dual channel results. My 1900X doesn't quite beat the 2700X, but that's only because the 2700X has better overclock headroom. It can hit 4.3 and 4.4. I'm stuck at 4.1, but with quad channel memory. So, and the hiccups start. There we go.
Hey, we got a show with the hiccups of Jeff's hiccups.
I've been fighting them all night.
Yeah, you have. I've been hearing you.
Yep.
What do you think of God of War winning Game of the Year award?
Good game.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I heard great things. I didn't even get to play it, but
here's the thing: when there's outrage over, oh, this game should have won, or this game should have won, or this game should have won, that means it was a good freaking year in gaming.
Yeah.
And be grateful that you have multiple games that were up for that award. You had Spider-Man, you had Red Dead Redemption, you had God of War, you had Fortnite was in the mix. There were a whole bunch of games that were in that mix that could have won, and no one would have been upset that game won.
Yeah.
Maybe you're upset that Red Dead Redemption won or didn't win. And God of War 4 did, but you don't really have a leg to stand on. Had Fortnite won, I think there would have been riots in the streets and cars overturned.
PUBG, Game of the Year!
Yeah. But a lot of dancing, I would assume.
Yeah.
I'm not upset at all. I think great game, great honor. Cool.
Yeah. Jeff, if you want to know more about brewing or want any recipe, the guy's still asking, so I'm going to answer him. Yeah. Join Jeff's Discord. I'm always on there. If you are on Jeff's Discord, it's only a minimum of $1. So you guys, if you are lasted this long in the video, good for you. Thanks for watching. Join his Discord. You can hear from Steve, myself, Jeff, Rhett, all the other people on Patreon. Yep. It's great. You can talk to us. If you do want to go, you can check out my channel too. You can talk to me on there. So we can talk more on brewing on either one of those platforms.
Yep. Yeah. Best way to get direct access to any of us is definitely through the Discord.
Yep.
Though. We're all active on there.
We're all active on there. At least one of us or two of us are always on there. And we actually expanded recently.
Yeah.
Like really big. A lot of different talking points, a lot of different channels, and chatting has just been exploding because of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's gotten a little bit better because it's a little more segmented.
You can dial into really what you want to talk about.
Exactly. To where beforehand, I started dialing out of the standard chat because I was like, someone mentioned my name and I'm scrolling to find it.
Yeah. What were they talking about? Okay, what's the context of that conversation?
It takes me 15 minutes to read the conversation and get to just catch up.
Yeah. So, how many channels are we up to now? 10?
Yeah.
Ish?
3, 4, 6, 9.
9, yeah. And we have a dedicated shitpost channel.
Yeah.
So
that's the best. That's one of the better ones.
It's one of the better ones.
It's one of the better ones. And no, it's not the Talking Heads channel.
No, it's not. Much as you guys think it is sometimes. Anyway, I think that's been a great show.
Yeah.
It's 10:04 here on the West Coast, so I think we're going to wrap it up. I want to get to bed. I'm tired.
Yeah, I got work in the morning.
I posted yesterday on Twitter. Is it Friday yet? It feels like it should be Friday. And freaking hell, it really
I'm like
does.
this close to start drinking at work.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. You have that ability. I don't. They'd fire me if I drank at work. So I don't have that job. I think it's because I run the department.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
They'd get upset. So, anyway, this has been episode 61. Thank you so much for joining us. Next week, Rhett returns.
What?
Rhett is back in the country.
Will he have a beard? Will he not have a beard?
That's actually a great question. I have no idea.
Is he going to wear his baseball cap or what? Who knows?
Tune in next week to find out. As Rhett would say. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Check out the video description for links to my Patreon. A minimum donation of $1 a month gets you access to the exclusive Discord server where you can chat with myself as well as the other hosts from Talking Heads, John, Rhett, and Steve. Also, check out links to my Amazon store. It really does help us out. I don't think I have that listed right now, but I will get it listed right after the show.
Great for Christmas.
Great for Christmas. If you have any Christmas shopping on Amazon to do, it doesn't cost you anything. Click on the link down there. Don't even have to buy something through the store. Just click the link, and anything you buy, I get credit for, and that really does get me a pretty decent kickback here. Also, if you see something on the show that you like, we have links usually down in the video description. If you have something that you want to send us, beer or tech that you want us to check out or review or weird things or old things, cool. We have a P.O. box. Send me things down to the P.O. box below. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Check out John at Hops and Brews pretty much on anything. Follow him on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Grindr.
I swipe left all the time.
That's right. And also a link to his YouTube page down in the video description. Great YouTube channel, Hops and Brews. If you are interested in homebrewing, beer reviews, what John thinks about different things, great channel. Check him out. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been a great show. We will see you next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
Yep.